Hi everyone, welcome back to Thorough Capping. I want to keep the videos coming your way. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you a way to, once you have a grasp on computing the velocity from on your pace grids and entering the data and entering the data correctly, I want to show you an idea that I've been playing around with that I haven't gotten a big enough sample size to actually use that as my main method in the deluxe tutorial. But I will create an addendum that will be downloadable for free if you purchased the addendum. It'll be or the tutorial. It'll be right on the grids. You'll see a link there. Click here for updated pace grid information. But here's the way it works. Brisnet, if you use the Brisnet past performances, they don't provide a variant like the DRF does over here, but they do provide their own version of a variant at the 1C and 2C with the variant points, which I call them. Okay, what they are is it tells you at that particular call how fast or how slow the race was run based on a sample size of races at that track, at that distance, at that condition, on that surface, and so forth. Okay, so when you look down here, you see the +5 at the first call. This 5.5 furlong on the fast track at first call, 23-1, was actually 5 lengths faster than normal. Okay, just to keep things simple, we'll just say faster than normal. Okay, and at the second call, and I'm not talking about necessarily just this number, I'm talking about the internal fraction between these two, was 1 second faster than normal. Okay, and we're going to use them numbers when we do our pace lines to make adjustments to the time that we're going to put in to our pace grid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go split. Actually, I'll just show you the whole pace grid right now. We're looking at this section here now. I already have the race handicapped. Okay, but I'm going to split my screen. And we'll split our screen over here as well. And we'll take a look at what we're doing here. The one horse I tossed. Okay, he was a toss out. Now we look at number 2. And after we enter the running style, the class move, the next step is to put now his first call fraction, where in this case was a 22-4. And now we're going to look at this number here at first call. 0. So this race was equal to the standard, or was run normally. Well, again, we'll just use simple terms. So we don't have to do anything to that 22-4 other than the normal, convert it to tenths and make it a 22-8. Now, but when we look at the second call now and we do the mental math, we have a 22-4 to a 47-2. That's a 24-3. Now, before you do anything with your conversions to tenths, we remember that 24-3 and ask, what do we have to do with that? We have to subtract 8 from that. So a 24-3 minus 8 fifths. Now we're talking fifths because 1 length is the equivalent of a fifth of a second. And we go 22-4 to 47-2. That's a 24-3 minus 8. Well, minus 5 would be a full second, right? That'd be a 23-3. And then we got to subtract 3 more fifths to make it 8, which would make it a flat 23. Okay, so we just went from a 24-3 split to a 23 when adjusting it to the minus 8 here. Okay, now the third fraction, we just do it as is. We don't change anything there. We just do the normal math and do the third fraction. Now let's look at the 3 horse. The 3 horse, our pace line is 2 back. We have a 22-4. Now what I want to do is I want to make this grid, if I can, larger in case it's blurry. So I remember I ran into that problem before when I was at 75%. So hopefully, if you weren't able to see before, it's in focus now. Okay, the 3 horse. He has a 22-4. I'm sorry, we're back here. 22-4. But he has a +1. So we're going to make that a 22-5, which is actually 23 flat. And that's going to be a 23 flat instead of a 22-8. when it's converted to tenths. So that's a 23 flat. Now let's do our mental conversion here. A 22 and 4 to a 46-4 is 24 seconds. Now normally we would have just put 24 seconds into the second call here. And where's the second call of the 3? Right here. But instead what we're doing is we're going to add 3 to that. So a 24 and 3 converted to tenths would be a 24 and 6. So all we're doing is we're letting these numbers tell us what to do. Add 1, add 3. Subtract 8. And when we talk about 8, we talk about subtracting, we're talking about fifths of seconds. And there's 5, obviously, in 1 second. So let's move on to the 4-horse. Pace line selected was 2 back. We have a 22 and 4. We don't do anything with that because there's a 0 here. And that remains a 22 and 8 once we convert it to tenths. We have a minus 45 here because he was 4.5 lengths behind. And remember, you have to multiply that by 10. It's a minus 45. But these here have nothing to do with the length adjustment, so we're not even going to worry about that. Now we go to a second call. So a 22 and 4 to a 47-2 is a 24 and 3. And again, we want to subtract 8. And when we subtract 8 from a 24 and 3, we come up with a 23 and 3, 23 and 23 flat, just like the same race. Okay. However, the difference is this horse was this horse lost a 3/4 of a length. That's why he gets a minus 7.5, and this horse was in the lead at the time. All right, now let's go down. We have 3 tosses. I tossed a 5, 6, 7. Let's look at the 8. Pace call 2 back. Again, 22 and 4. Leave it as is. Comes a 22 and 8 in tenths. And then we have a 24 and 2. How did we get that? Well, a 22 and 4 to a 47-2. Again, is a 24 and 3. But we got to subtract 2. 24 and 3, 24 and 2, 24 and 1. Convert that to tenths, and that becomes a 24 and 2. And then finally, the 9-horse. We have a +1 and a -5 to work with here. And I think we had that race before. So a 23 plus 1 is a 23 and 1. When converted to tenths, it's 23 and 2. Here we have a 25 and 1 difference. A 23 to a 48-1 is a 25 and 1. But we want to subtract 5, which is a full second, which makes that a 24 and 1. And when we convert that to tenths, it becomes a 24 and 2. All right? So that's what we did there as far as that's how we use those variant points. And then what I did was I handicapped the entire race. And the 4 and the 2 on my pace grid here, just looking at the segments, were the standouts. Okay, they were the only 2 I really could include. I could have threw the 8 in there as well. But at the same time, I only used the 4 and the 2. I actually ranked them 2 and 4. And then you look at the averages over here. And the averages comes out to telling me that the 4-horse showed up better in averages. 4-2, and then the 3 showed up a little bit too. So the 4-2-3 was my average over there. Okay? I mean, the race, if you want to watch the race did run 2-4. It came in 2-4. The 5-horse came in third, which was a toss from me. It came in 2-4-5-3. And the 4 went off at 8-1. So absorb that. Make it make sense. If there's any comments, suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions, guys. I'm trying to help you out, and I'd like to see if you guys can help me out as much as I can as well. And I'm going to do Penn National for tomorrow night, and I'll put a video up either later tonight or tomorrow, and I'm going to use this particular method when it comes to doing the pace grids, and we see how we do. All right, thanks for tuning in.